What's raging, gamers? Welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK the Wreck?
Chris, the adrenaline is pumping. It's time to rage.
Right? We got so much to discuss, and we're so excited to have you, the gamers, always joining us live every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. So HenricK the Wreck and I, we like to have some fun. Start off the show with a bang and show you guys a lot of viral content that's been circulating all across the World Wide Web. So let's get it. Popular streamer Nadeshot was already frustrated with his teammates in Marvel Rivals and decided to let loose with some classic trash talk. But the chat box had other plans. What followed was a moment so cringeworthy it could have canceled him faster than a bad tweet. So thank the Lord he is streaming and recording at all times.
Oh wait, that looks really bad, bro. Ooh, shit. Ooh. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa. Oh, that's what I get for talking shit, bro. Oh my god, dog.
Oh man, that's
scary.
exactly what he gets. No, yeah, you
That's
really
so
said
scary.
it. You nailed it. He's lucky he's recording that.
Oh my gosh, dude.
The
Like,
allegations can be beat.
it's not even me, and like my heart just dropped. And every single time, even when I was like prepping the video to get ready for the show to show that clip, I'm like, that's why you gotta be so careful. And sometimes, you know, those chat boxes, they moderate you, they can come back and bite you in the ass. But let's read into the comments. At least he has the VOD to back him up. Yeah, totally true. And then Jake Lucky says, this could have been clipped and screened so much worse, especially with the AI technology. God knows how fast people can move to start tweeting in existence. I don't know what that streamer's name is, but there's some Asian girl that's, you know, actually said the word compared to Nadeshot, who wasn't trying to say it, but it comes across like that on screen. And then, the 4 stages of realization.
Yeah, he's just like, oh no, they're gonna clip this and I'm gonna be ruined.
Yeah, I feel like what would have made it worse is if he just like jumped off the stream completely. At least he held his ground and was like, this was genuinely a mistake. And then dumb censorship made it worse. That's the irony. You know, in a sense, it does kind of feel like that. I know, you know, Call of Duty community has been trying to combat, toxic, gamers, right? And so doesn't it just feel like you should just put an asterisk on the whole entire sentence if you're trying to moderate, just to kind of play it safe, even for the streamers moving forward? Just a suggestion. But
because otherwise things like this happen. Confusion.
Exactly. But this was probably one of the coolest streaming setups I've ever seen in my life. So Kai Cenat is taking streaming to heroic heights, revealing the over-the-top room setups for his Batman Arkham Marathon. Because why just play the game when you can also look like the Caped Crusader while doing it? So complete with the full outfit, Kai's stream is now the Batcave you never knew you needed in your life.
Man, don't you wish that you could actually build out those sets and just walk through them? I mean, I know, Chris, that is your favorite series.
Oh, I love it. It's so much freaking fun. But I got to ask you before we even jump into the comments, what was your favorite out of the entire series?
Oh, I mean,
was it Origins?
They're all
was it
really
the City?
nice, but I really like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's always the classic. Yeah, that one that was always my cherished one as well. Say, look at it, the stars are aligning. But let's go right on into the comments because the first one says, imagine seeing a 5'5" Batman. Yeah, that kind of made me laugh too. I mean, that bat suit's so freaking gangster. I heard one of them was actually made by Balenciaga. He was trying to claim that one of the bat suits was $20 million. $20 million! Do you think Batman even spent that much money on his own gear? Probably.
Questionable. Maybe, though.
But he spent it towards
maybe in the
Christian
choices. Bale series.
You're right. This Batman is getting zero information out of me. So Like, yeah, not so threatening. I don't know if you saw the jump scare when he got scared by the man bat. I don't know if you remember that point. In I think,
Oh,
what was
yeah,
that was in
yeah.
the city version. That got me too, way back in the day when I was a wee lad. And y'all don't get tired of this dude? Clearly not. I mean, when I was checking him out over the weekend, HenricK, he had over 120,000 concurrent viewers watching him.
That's
Is
wild.
truly, truly legendary. And I mean, keep up the good fight, man. I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love a good cosplay, but my mom kind of killed it for me. You know, she she kind of killed the whole dressing up for Halloween, like maybe when I was in middle school. So I haven't really been that cosplay person. Maybe I might break out one of these days. Who knows?
Yeah, you should.
Because I see you doing it all the time. You always, you and your girlfriend always got killer outfits.
Do some couples costumes or
no, I love it. I think it's so freaking cool. But you know what? To get that kind of money, maybe we got to be on Kai Cenat's level or even Mr. Beast. But you kind of start to wonder, like, what does he do with his money? Or if he actually starts to, what is he thinking about in his future? Well, Mr. Beast revealed that he wants to buy a League of Legends esports team in 3 years. And this is not the first time that he's mentioned it, but it's a confirmation that he's still pursuing it because apparently giving away islands and millions wasn't enough. So at this rate, expect him to own a whole esports league by 2030.
You know, like rich people buy like NBA teams and football teams. I don't have that kind of money, but so this would be like a poor man's version of that. But I wanted to be like a pro league player. I used to look up to Faker and all the top players, and it was one of the few things I related to like other people with. I've been playing for 13 years or something like that. I've been playing for a very long time. I'm not doing it for the love of esports. I'm doing it for the love of League of Legends. I'm gonna get around to it eventually. It might truthfully be another 3-4 years, but it would be awesome if I like made money to just like buy an LCS team, pour tons of money into the salary, spoil the players, you know, import the best players, and like try to make a run for Worlds. That would be amazing.
Don't kid yourself, Mr. Beast. You're also wanting to get into that because it'll make you money.
Well, absolutely. But you know what? I would like, because I said it a couple weeks back. Like, I'm just floating this up in the air. I know League of Legends is very powerful. It's got a massive fan base, but I just see the effects of what we saw with Overwatch trying to, you know, battle it out with the new rival. Wink, wink. You know, Marvel rivals. So I always just wonder whether like the DC universe or Marvel will step in and make their own kind of League of Legends. You know, the kind of same fear that Pokemon has for Power World, you know, the next great replacer. So, you know, I just sort of speculate. So maybe in 3 years, will we see a game that will compete with League of Legends and then maybe make Mr. Beast change his mind? But yes, I love this comment. A poor man's version coming from him is crazy. Did you miss that point? He said that like within the first 10 seconds. Mr. Beast saying this out of all people, especially after Beast games, where I don't know if you saw, did you watch the finale, HenricK?
I didn't know.
Oh man, dude. Well, yeah. Oh, it's a fantastic series. It's so freaking good. I mean, $5 million was on the line, but then he doubled the antes when you watch the show, and then you see this kind of comment where, you know, the poor man's version. Okay, who are you kidding? And then you get League of Legends won't even be relevant game in 3 years. You see, that's kind of what I'm vibing with. I don't know. I've never. I know some of my personal friends will say you're just attacking it because you're a hater and you don't even play the game and you suck ass and your dog went flop like a fish.
Then again, Chris, you know, they keep saying this about this game that it's just not going to be relevant in 3 years, 5 years, however long. Then
so you're saying this is like this is a constant trend that pops up every 3 years.
Yeah. People are always saying that the game is dead, and then they go and play the game that they say is dead.
And oh gosh, you gotta love the beauty of X, where they have AI Twitter accounts, Cobra AI. It's a parody, and he's automated by responding to Mr. Beast in this interview by saying, quote, buy an esports team? Real top G's buy real sports teams. While you're playing with pixels, I'm negotiating deals from Romanian football clubs. Stay broke playing video games. I'm built different. Like, what? What kind of money are you using? Cody, Bitcoin? I am so freaking confused. But hey, we want to thank you guys always so much for always joining Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because without your support, gamers, this show would not be possible. And we just want to highlight just a moment. Here's a QR code on screen. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That is my YouTube channel. Always a lot of amazing things cooking up.
Yeah, and go ahead and give that QR code a scan too. That goes to my YouTube channel where there's tons of awesome content just waiting to be watched. So go check it out, drop a comment, and let me know you watched it.
Yeah, we always love the good, positive, and sometimes that fiery fight back, I would say, from some of you
Call
gamers
Chris
that-
out. Call Chris out, all right?
Quite a bit in Season 8, I'm not going to lie. But that's why, I think it's an important reminder, too, for you guys. Join the show. You guys can comment wherever you're coming from, whether it's Meta, whether it's Twitch, whether it's YouTube. Join the chat box. Your comment could be featured on air. So are you ready to bring the energy? Are you ready to rock and roll, HenricK the Wreck?
Oh, yeah. It's time for Pause or Repeat, and we get to talk about a game. So let's get to it.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Avowed. This is Obsidian Entertainment's return to the Pillars of Eternity universe. They've been cooking this one for quite some time, at about 6 years with a couple of reboots during production. So did they deliver a good product after it all? Let's dive straight into the gameplay and see what it has on offer. The gameplay of Avowed is first-person action combat. It has the standard RPG mechanics for progression, namely a leveling system with points that you can use to develop attributes and also skills. As for the combat, you have a choice of melee, magic, or ranged bows and firearms. The game also has a quick swap mechanic, allowing you to have 2 sets of weapons to easily swap between on command. You'll find plenty of enemies as you explore the world and also encounter bosses. Accompanying you are your companions Kai, Marius, Giada, and Yatsli. You can have 2 companions with you at a time, and they also have a progression system to level up. As you progress the story, you will also obtain special skills that are used in story moments and elsewhere. Speaking of the story, let's go over that. Avowed has you jump into the world of Eora. You are someone who has been blessed with godlike features since birth, which manifests as fungus growing on the player character. The Emperor of Adir takes you in as an envoy, seeing promise in you. He then sends you to investigate the Dream Scourge, a mysterious plague that induces erratic behavior in its victims before eventually turning them into dream thralls. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat?
All right, I know what everyone's thinking when they see that gameplay, because you and I, Chris, we saw the gameplay and we saw the same thing when we first saw it. Is this Skyrim?
Yeah.
It's not. And then, Obsidian has also said, don't compare it to Skyrim, but come on, guys.
Come on, you really always have to compare it to it.
You
right.
have to.
Because
so my question to you, Chris, is
yes.
What's going to stop someone from playing Skyrim over this?
I don't know if it's so much stopping. I feel like a lot of people have tried to embrace Avowed because it's like they took Skyrim and Fable and gave it like a caffeine overdose, and then they told it to calm down a little bit. Because once you start to like get into the world of Avowed, a very first-person fantasy RPG where you carve your own path through war, intrigue, and enough ancient secrets to make Indiana Jones jealous. I mean, that's what open world brings you, right? I mean, they constantly want you to set away from the straight path, start to drift off course, and I think that's what the world of Aurora brings to you. They try to set up this premise that you'll navigate in a land in turmoil, you're gonna forge alliances, or lifelong grudges. I mean, they got all those special abilities that Obsidian always brings to their games, like wielding magic and steel to shape the fate of the living lands. But was that enough to keep us invested from not dying in the process? I'm curious about your thoughts, HenricK.
Well, when it comes to the exploration, that really is the high point of this game, because like you're saying, that's really the point of it being open world, is they give you this vast open space to go explore, and they really encourage you to do that. And, early on, before I even got maybe 4 missions, like story missions in, I was out there exploring as much as I could. I found some legendary boots, and I was having a good time. But then, you take a step back and you're like, okay, compare this to other giants in the industry that have made their mark in this genre. Really a big one is Skyrim, but not just Skyrim. Just think any other, even Obsidian game. Right. Is the gameplay in this satisfying? To some extent, yes. But does it feel like it's 2025 satisfying? I'd say there's room to grow there, and it's not entirely feeling like a 2025 game in that respect. But
No,
what do you think about that?
No, I totally agree with you. I made the comment last week when we were talking about, the creative director coming out and basically saying like, hey, listen, look, on the day of the game launch, expect a few bugs. I mean, that's how we, you got to expect that when you want to try to do something new. But the problem is when you constantly keep comparing it to a 15-year-old game like Skyrim, or you see, let's say, Red Dead Redemption 2, or matter of fact, I know you said first person, but you can go in a third person mode. And have you ever noticed how shitty that looks like? I mean, Hogwarts Legacy looks like it has better gameplay than, when you get in Avowed and you get in that third person mode. So I completely avoided that, which kind of sucks because that was my favorite feature in the Fallout series. I love being able to toggle between first person and third person, and just, feeling that this game comes across more like a PlayStation 3 game, even though I knew I was very harsh on Metaphor Reventasio. I mean, gosh, Avowed should deserve the same critique. I mean, it's they try to give you this hodgepodge understanding, like, we understand it doesn't have that deep RPG mechanics that you might see in, like, let's say Baldur's Gate 3, but rather a more streamlined action RPG that keeps things fun without overwhelming casual players. But then you can also argue and say, maybe there is a reason why Elder Scrolls needs more time, because you look at this and you start to think, wow, this is actually more of a fun game to play through the Xbox Game Pass instead of actually paying $70, because, if you love the world of exploring open world full of loots and hidden paths and quests and upgrading your gear, sure, there's plenty of games like that. So what is it that Avowed's going to do to make me want to come back? And I don't know. I felt a little disheartened. I wanted to really like this game, but...
Yeah. When you're going back and looking at the games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Skyrim, even Oblivion, the game that came out before Skyrim, and you're seeing the level of detail, and just what I mean by detail is not entirely just like the graphical fidelity, but just like, okay, these characters in this world have an actual schedule that they take part in.
I was just about to say that, because you said that last week about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Yes.
And how you loved how the NPCs didn't feel stagnant, right?
Exactly. And this game doesn't have that. The NPCs, they just don't move. They stand in the same place from day to night. They never go home. And it's like, this feels like a video game. I'm not immersed properly.
Well, it feels stiff, and I think
lack of detail that the game has.
Well, I think that we hold Obsidian, and it's no one's fault. It's just because we love this studio so much that we want them to be super successful. But if you're like looking for a deep morality system where you can be a total villain and the ability to steal from the NPCs or have them react, or a complex class system like classic RPGs, then this might not scratch that itch, HenricK. And I think that's the problem. I mean, you're gonna see comparisons online to Avowed and Skyrim, and I'm telling you right now, it doesn't make the game look enticing for $70. And I think that's the real problem.
Safe. It feels like they almost, in a sense, copped out and said, we could try and innovate here, or maybe take a chance on this game mechanic here and give the keys to the kingdom to all these different systems to the players. But do we really want to do that when we could just do this and kind of streamline the experience for people? And if they are okay with that, then perfect. But if they're not, we tried.
Yeah, and I think that's the real question. It's like, will you carve your own legend in the living lands, or just spend hours getting distracted by shiny loot? I think that's really up to the gamers, and I feel like the world is enticing. I thought it was a lot of fun. It's very colorful. Sometimes I do miss that kind of dark fantasy. I kind of felt like there was moments that game could have opened up that opportunity, but I didn't quite see it. I know I've been reading some of the funniest stuff on this game where people were so upset with the artistic director and the choices they were going. I mean, they were trying to attack the companions, for being a little too colorful. And it's like, really? I mean, do you have a problem with Avatar? Because they have blue skin. I mean, what's going on? I mean, if that's the reason why you're not playing this game, that's a little sad. But getting back to whether this is a pause or a repeat, it is a fun game. I had a blast playing it, but it's not enough for me to want to return to the living lands. And so for myself, I'm going to call it a pause. What about you, HenricK?
Yeah, this is a pause for me as well, which is unfortunate because, like you said, this is a dark fantasy story, and I do appreciate that. The story is really interesting. It's just that because of the fact that there's a lot of concepts thrown at you, it's hard to grasp the story immediately, and then the gameplay, like we were explaining, doesn't really feel like 2025 gameplay. So for me, it's a pause. It actually made me want to maybe try Skyrim again in 2025.
You know, it's so funny that you say that. It does. And I think that's the problem with the game. You just go, man, I want to go back and revisit Fallout 4. It has nothing to do with
even
magic
New Vegas.
or wielding swords. Or New Vegas. You just want to go back to a great RPG game. And like they had so many opportunities to really lock in with this game, but I feel like the fact that you see Fable and they just dropped their new pre-alpha gameplay trailer, and you can literally walk down the street and drop kick a chicken like you could in Zelda, and you can't do the same thing in this game. You just feel like, wow, I feel so disconnected in this game. Why? And I hear this, I go, we gotta wrap this up. But I gotta say, like, would you? I saw a very funny tweet about this kind of style of game, and they were saying, do you think that this game would even win Game of the Year if they were in contention in the year 2006? I just don't think so.
I don't think so, unfortunately. Maybe for graphics. Maybe for
graphics for sure.
But,
for sure. But like gameplay style and what it's not offering, I don't know. But that's when you, the gamers, we want to hear from you. Are you vibing with Avowed? Do you think this is a game that you will have endless fun and it will always send you on a different direction every time you start a new campaign? Or is it Avowed or Avoid? You let us know what's good. But we got so much more here left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So HenricK the Wreck, are you ready to rock and roll?
Oh yeah, we got lots to talk about, so stay tuned.
What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK the Wreck and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. Let's get it. Microsoft has officially entered the AI makes everything now era with MUSE, an artificial intelligence model designed to generate video game visuals and actions, because who needs human animators when you have algorithms running on Mountain Dew and server power? Okay, all jokes aside, it was developed in collaboration with Ninja Theory, one of Xbox Game Studios' finest, they say. And MUSE is here to revolutionize the game development, or at the very least take some of the workload off of the overworked developers' teams. At least that's what they claim. So Microsoft claims that MUSE can create entire game scenes that would typically require painstaking programming and animation by actual humans, because I guess animators don't want to do their jobs anymore and they need the help from the AI. So why? How could this be? Well, by using data collected from Xbox gamers and their controllers. I thought we had a problem when Pokemon Go was taking our geoscoping. I guess, Xbox, you're supporting AI, whether you knew it or not. But anyways, by using data collected from Xbox gamers and their controllers, meaning all those hours you spent button mashing in Halo might now be fueling an AI's artistic ambitions. But the most eyebrow-raising feature, game preservation. Like emulations don't exist. But Microsoft says MUSE AI can study classic games from its vast backlog catalog and optimize them for modern hardware, which hopefully means less unplayable relic and more nostalgia trip with at least a little bit of decent frame rate, right? I know HenricK needs that on his handy-dandy, expensive PC. But of course, this AI-powered push comes as games development costs continue to skyrocket, and studios are looking for ways to keep production from turning into an endless money pit. But how do gamers feel about MUSE? And that is the time where we are going to find out in the comments. So let's go ahead and check out the first one. Why hire CEOs who make shitty decisions? Why not employ ChatGPT as your CEO? No more bonuses for the suits needed.
Hey, you know what? If you're going to pull the same logic on us, we're going to do the same to you.
Yeah.
is what everyone's saying, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Muse could really help with like the storyboard process, help, to kind of bring, like an early stage of artistic expression to life. But I don't know if we're quite there yet. But then again, you talk to some of them old school gamers from the 80s and they start going, man, you guys got it really, really good in 2020. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got it really good. I mean, is this too far-fetched after all, HenricK?
Well, if you look at the gameplay that it actually spits out, it's really a blurry mess.
No, it is.
So
it can't be perfect
like
right
you
away.
said, well, yeah, maybe it's never going to be perfect even, I'd
True.
say. It maybe could be interesting as, like you're suggesting, maybe a way to get some ideas out on paper and something visualized before it's solidified as an actual, okay, we're doing this.
Right, especially with multiple studios getting closed, a lot even at the beginning of this year, definitely last year. Thousands of workers have been replaced with this kind of AI technology, and you just wonder sometimes the amount of money that they're putting into this kind of Muse model. Couldn't they just funded like thousands of workers back into the workforce? You just speculating. But you know what's good at efficiently replicating the behavior of a game engine in real time? A game engine.
True.
Yeah, fair enough. And then you get the term AI has no meaning anymore. It used to be a term associated with robots and sci-fi. Now it just makes me depressed and disgusted with society. Do you feel that way, HenricK? I don't. I feel like it is a great tool, but I mean, at the end, I mean, if you're people are constantly losing their job, that becomes problematic. I mean, I feel like if you want to be in this industry, especially even when not even just video game space, television, film, maybe even theater. I mean, if you see some really badass theater, you'll see that they'll use some of the most latest technology out there today. I feel like if you want to be a part of the arts, you got to embrace with the times, but I'm curious on how you vibe with this.
Yeah, AI is one of those things that if it's going to be as widespread as people are expecting it to be, you are really not going to be able to get away from it. Now, just like any tool, like a hammer can be used to drive in a nail, but a hammer can also be misused as something else.
Yeah, very true.
Per se. So with AI, it's a tool. You can use it in the quote unquote correct way, or you can use it in a misuse of the tool and decide, hey, actually, I don't think I need 3,000 of you anymore. I'm going to fire all of you and replace you with AI.
Yeah.
Well, what's going to happen then? Maybe your quality of work's not going to go up. It's actually going to go down.
Yeah. I hear you on that one. And then
you haven't got enough maybe studies for people to really say yes or no on that. For sure, but I think you can kind of get an idea.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what's hilarious is that we already have the answer for preserving video games. Just release the source code. However, that answer does not please the investors. I mean, money. Money's always going to talk. And, this is nothing new in the year 2025, but they're now starting to let gamers know there's a reason why a lot of your favorite studios out there are pursuing remasters, remakes, whatever you want to call it, because they say that is the number one source to be able to get enough funding to pursue their next IP. So if that's the case, I believe Xbox feels like that's where they're at as well, because clearly they're not in the console wars anymore. They're all about being like the next Sega of the modern gaming world, being the next great studio out there producing fantastic games. And so you just kind of wonder sometimes, will they use that AI tool to ramp up the process of some of their older games to be pushed out in, let's say, an HD format, 30 frames per second, no 120 for you, HenricK.
Ah, man.
I know, right? You just wonder, they could easily do that. And then we want to empower game developers, so we replace their jobs with AI. Yep, pretty much. And then let's go into the last comment. There's a huge misunderstanding. I don't support AI taking people's job, but Muse is not a replacement for anyone in the process. Muse seems to be more of a tool to help a developer visualize an idea so that they themselves can develop it later. Muse is not used to create the game itself, but rather to create a quick build of the concept of the game so that the developers can see what their idea might look like before they sink any time into it. Muse only seems to create footage, not a playable product. And so, yeah, I mean, the other thing too, it might sound like I myself is knocking on, Xbox and Microsoft, what they're doing. I mean, they do allow this to be open source. It's not like you can't try this out for yourself right now. But HenricK, do you think Microsoft's Muse will speed up the game development and make it easier to create epic worlds, or will it just make us all feel like we're playing a game made by a robot on a tight deadline?
Well, it all depends how it's used. Like I was saying with the hammer, that's a tool that can be used for, the proper use. And just like that, AI can be used the way that it's intended in this case, which was to give an idea and take that and then kind of develop something that can be visually seen. And then from there, you can say, okay, I don't think we really want to go that direction. Or maybe actually we kind of like that. Let's make something more concrete in the actual game engine and then see if that actually works for us. Rather than have to wait so much longer for the game to actually be made in the engine, because that could obviously take some time. But the only thing I can really see at the end of the day happening, unfortunately, with this is that the corporations and studios, as they are, they're going to see this as a tool to save money and cut corners, meaning cut employees that could have been saved to keep your game quality higher. But at the end of the day, they don't care about that. All they care about is making, like you're, saying is one of the biggest sources of revenue, a remaster. Because we all need another of that.
I know, and that gets really freaking old after a while. And I know the response from developers and the large community online, however, has been swift, with Muse being poorly received at the moment. And longtime game developer and founder of the development studio The Outsiders, his name is David Goldfarb, said in response to the news, quote, "F this shit." And he even went further to say he doesn't believe generative AI is good for video games by saying, quote, "because the people who are promoting it are doing it to reduce the capital expenditure, and whether they intend to do it or not are effectively disenfranchising and devaluing millions of collective years of aesthetic effort by game developers and artists." So do you feel like this is a crutch that we need to combat AI? That is up for you, the gamers, to decide. We want to hear your thoughts. So let us know what's good.
PC gaming has a hilarious paradox. The most open platform is completely ruined by a single storefront. Huh? Well, What is that storefront?
Yeah, I wonder what that
Steam.
is. Oh.
Yeah. Despite countless challengers over the past 2 decades, Epic, Ubisoft Connect,
Yup.
EA's whole thing that they've changed like 3 times, I feel like.
GOG.
Well, yeah, GOG is another one.
Yup.
Valve still holds the crown, and no one has managed to pry it from their Half-Life 3 hoarding hands.
Damn you, just give us the game.
I know you guys have that game in your studio. Let us play it already.
Let us play!
But one of those challengers was also Amazon. And now a former vice president has spilled the tea on why their grand plan to dethrone Steam failed. So Ethan Evans, former vice president of Prime Gaming, recently took to LinkedIn to explain why Amazon's attempts flopped harder than a battle royale cash grab. Well, Amazon's 3 big moves. First, they acquired a small PC game store called Reflexive Entertainment and tried to scale it. Spoiler alert, it didn't scale.
No, not at all.
Otherwise, we'd hear about it.
You're right, exactly.
Second, they built their own PC game store and attempted to funnel Twitch users toward it, because nothing says buy games here like a chat spamming emotes, because everyone loves seeing that in the Twitch chat.
Right, and doesn't that kind of remind you of Epic Games always constantly trying to give you free games so you get used to their platform? That still doesn't seem to work out.
And they're still not profitable because even with that, because all people have the Epic Games Store for is the free games that they give you.
Fortnite. Exactly.
Yeah, that too. And finally, they launched Luna. We even covered that. It's Amazon's game streaming service to compete with the likes of NVIDIA GeForce Now and the other out there, But, as you can imagine, this went about as well as people's Wi-Fi connections.
Yes.
And that's the reason why.
Gotta have good Wi-Fi.
Yeah, and this is exactly the reason why people don't say, "Oh yeah, I'll join you. Let me just boot up my computer," or "Actually, I got my phone. Let me play it on Luna with you." Yeah, nobody says that. Nobody does.
Unfortunately, no.
So, what do gamers think about this revelation? Well, let's find out because we, of course, have their comments of what they have to say.
Yeah, let's dive right on into it. The first one that we got here is, I didn't even know Amazon had a gaming service, and even Google Stadia had better marketing. These people really thought they could compete with Steam. They wouldn't even be able to compete with GOG. That's really, really funny. So, how do people not know of Amazon Luna? I am genuinely surprised. Does anybody got an Amazon Fire Stick? Come on. It's always popping up on the front of the menu, whether you want to see it or not, right?
Well, maybe people are just seeing Luna. What's this Luna? Get me to my show.
Yeah, get me to my Netflix. Get me to my Disney Plus. And of course they couldn't. Steam is exactly what people want. A convenient place to store your games that allows you to auto-update so the games you want to play are ready when you are. The storefront is non-invasive and only pop-ups once when you want to start Steam. Otherwise, the ads are away from the player unless the player seeks them out. The community aspect is already there. And again, out of the way unless you want to engage with it. Then it isn't Chinese spyware that leaks your personal information. Oh, and most people have neutral or better viewpoint of Gavin rather than broadly hating Bezos, but these are relatively minor aspects. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think anybody's thinking about who's is people really thinking about Bezos and that's why they're revolting about it? I have a hard time.
Yeah, I don't think that's the reason why this didn't pop off.
Yeah, right. I think it's just because, like you say, I mean, if you're a PC gamer and you've been playing for over 15 years, most of your catalog is on Steam. It's really hard to let that go. You know what I mean? So, that's why I always say, don't be surprised if someone out there wants to make a very lucrative bid to acquire Valve. Steam. And I truly feel like that will be the case whether gamers will like it or not, because money does talk in the end. I kind of feel like Netflix a little bit, but I could be totally wrong. And then we also got comments like this. What value are they adding other than we also sell games? Steam has service, community, history, etc. And then a follow-up comment says, and customer trust. Not saying Valve has a spotless record, but they are absolutely taking steps to protect the customer rather than their wallets. There's a 100% chance that if Valve wasn't private, the faceless corporate assholes would ruin Steam. Banning ads that impact gameplay is the latest Valve W. Yeah, I mean, what do you take from that?
Everyone always praises Valve for their customer service and their customer forward thinking, rather than thinking about just the business, because obviously the business is an aspect that they think about, but their business is the customer. And unless the game, it feels like, obviously, probably not exactly.
But you even just referenced it too with the Vita Go, for example, and we know that PC gaming is very, very expensive. Okay, it's really expensive. Not everybody gets that luxury. And then on top of having to pay for a new AAA game, you're going to be paying $70. I just wonder whether some of those platforms like, PS Plus, Vita Go, you name it, that start offering you, pay us $20, $25 a month, you get an unlimited access of library of games. I wonder if that's going to start to give Valve some problems. Do you think that would ever happen anytime soon?
At least in regards to the people in the PC community, there would have to be some big shakeups. And it wouldn't be cloud streaming, I think, that would actually pull the majority of PC gamers off of Steam. It would actually be probably someone buying Steam, like you were suggesting.
Okay.
If some other company did like a a very enticing bid for buying the company. But the whole idea
Because they're
of
small,
Steam,
you know.
well, that's the thing. No one actually knows their value because they're private.
Yeah.
But from Gabe Newell's perspective, at least from what we can see, because we don't know for sure what he's thinking, but what we can see is that he sees Valve and Steam, especially, as just a money printing machine, because it's just a storefront that everyone has. Why would you sell that to anyone? At least as long as he's alive, I don't think anyone's going to sell that company.
Hey, fair enough. And you also get comments like this that say they offered literally nothing to make their service more appealing to the consumer. This is just an out-of-touch suit. Laughing out loud. Amazon was never Goliath in gaming. That was and remains Steam. So what? Amazon's David? Okay, it is amazing to see that Amazon has so much money, and even money can't pull the gamers towards their world. And yeah, you need to have that kind of incentive. But then you get comments like this. They weren't just competing with Steam. It was also GOG and Epic Game Store. 3 marketplaces is already too many for most people. Yeah, I mean, you say this all the time. Remember we discussed about all these PC game launches? Like, oh my gosh, can we minimize this already? And so it's hard to compete in that market. And at least GOG offers a different product. They have newer games on it, but the majority of their appeal is right in the name, quote unquote, good old games. Steam, Amazon, and Epic are all playing the same market, and Steam is the front runner by both the status quo bias and just being a better platform. And other people can't stand that, you have to have a PS sign-in when you jump into your PS Plus, stuff like that. We covered it with like Helldivers 2, a little bit of that kind of factor where you could just jump into your launcher with Steam, click the game, jump exactly in. People like that. It's not a hassle to try to play some of your favorite video games. And let's get into the last comment, because it says it's hard to get people out of their established ecosystems, especially when everything is proprietary. And Steam was the only show in town for a long time. So we are all very deeply invested, literally and figuratively, in our Steam accounts at this point. Yeah, that's kind of what you and I have been saying right now.
Yeah.
And
it's actually very similar to how people feel about the Apple ecosystem. Like, you've expressed so clearly on the show sometimes, I would never switch to an Android. I want to have my iPhone, and then you point out that I have an Android phone.
Yeah. No, I think
Same thing.
I think that's actually a really, really fair point, because, people are going to get accustomed to what they know best. But then I guess that's the thing, we can kind of joke and say some of you old school PC gamers out there like Gen X, and you guys are the ones that are, leaning back on the wall, smoking your stogies, judging the next generation ahead of you, or coming, up. And I just kind of wonder whether, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, I guess that's what they're calling them moving forward. Like, will they expand on their Steam library? Because, we're starting to see a slow decline of video game sales, and that's why, even did you see the news today that Dragon Age the Veilguard already is gonna be a PS Plus game in March?
That just
I was like,
immediately shows
what?
that it did not hit the success that they were hoping for.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so to go back to this subject matter, do you think Amazon's former VP had a real shot at toppling Valve Steam, or was it more like trying to knock over a mountain with a squirt gun? Because I just kind of wonder, will we ever see a worthy competitor, or is Valve just too busy making millions while we all wait for Half-Life 3?
Yeah, it's definitely, at least I feel like, not going to happen as long as Gabe Newell is alive. Now, maybe if he does end up passing away and whoever then takes a hold of the company after him decides to go down a different route, or maybe sell the company to another bigger company, it just, for now at least, reminds me of the classic Tony Stark meme from the first movie of like, Tony Stark built this in a cave. Well, Valve built Steam when there was nothing else, and you put all this money in, and you can't beat it?
You're right.
What's going on?
Right. I mean, they assume that the size and visibility alone would be enough to attract customers, but they don't quite understand the video game audience, and they definitely underestimated the power of existing user habits. And so we just wonder, whether there will be a new dawn, a new day when people do eventually move away from Valve. Will you guys, girls, do you see that happening anytime soon? Will we see Steam eventually competing with a new competitor? Let us know what's good, because it might be accurate to call Amazon a Goliath, but calling Valve a David, that's whether you and I to speculate another time. But let us know what's good.
Yeah, well, what's going on with there's a big leak going on, Chris.
It feels like every 2 or 3 weeks, it's just, this studio is just getting the worst luck. Ubisoft, well, Assassin's Creed Shadows is already out in the wild. Well, at least for those with black market connections or a really good Facebook marketplace algorithm, because a month before release, copies are being streamed, leaked, and probably sold out of the back of a van somewhere. Remember we used to get really good knockoff deals on speakers waiting at gas stations? No, you don't remember those days? Okay, maybe that's probably not safe. But anyways, Ubisoft has confirmed the game's street date has been broken, but how these early copies escaped is still a mystery. So one X user at @DannyStevens_, who has now gone private online, by the way, claimed he bought his copy off Facebook Marketplace and even shared the photos of the box and installation screen like it was a rare artifact. And as you can see here on screen, 85 gigabytes, that's actually not too bad. I know some people would get scared by that and go, no! But I mean, it's an open world game after all. But meanwhile, that wasn't the only one. A now deleted Macari listing where someone was casually holding multiple copies, like they just robbed an Ubisoft warehouse, each one selling for $100, okay? And then let's not forget Twitch, okay? 2 streams of the game popped up because what's a leak without a live audience? So let's see what gamers think about this early Ezio heist with the following. So let's dive in. First comment that we got here is, thought this was another delay. I was about to flip a table. So yes, that's not that kind of leak,
right? The big news about Assassin's Creed, and then a delay would be the big news.
I know you always see so much negative press around Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm actually genuinely excited. I want to play the game first before I start critiquing. Everybody, in the country of Japan is definitely getting upset about some of the clearances that, well, whether they need a clearance or not. I mean, it's your artistic expression through Ubisoft to be able to capitalize that. I mean, did you think that they got clearance from the Pope in Assassin's Creed to be able to do what they did? Spoiler alert. But let's go to the next comment. If it needs patches to launch properly, why did you already send it to printing before that? But remember now, this game got delayed not once, not twice, 3 times. Yep. Originally was going to get delayed until February 14th, and they delayed again for March 20th. And so maybe that's the case, but you just wonder, how does this kind of mistake happen? I really don't know.
I would think probably what happened is with the last delay from February 14th to March 20th, they already had the CDs in production and probably were even at actual retailers, and
well, let me ask you this.
Retailer's going to actually keep those locked up.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because you've had jobs in the past where you're working at Best Buy, Geek Squad, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen a game get delivered to your store a month out?
Maybe not a month out, but we've definitely seen the games on the shelves in the back, just waiting to be put on the actual shelves, maybe like a week before at most.
Oh, week before, mostly.
Yeah.
From your understanding. Okay. So see, that's what's so intriguing about this story. Like, how did this get out there a full month?
Well, they were probably out already, shipped when they were planning for the February 14th street date.
Oh, okay. I get what's
probably going on here.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense. Yeah. But don't worry, we already all knew this game was going to be awful, so leaks will only confirm what we already know. And so, I thought that was, I know the developers have came out and say, listen, look, try to avoid any kind of early leaks because some of that gameplay might not reflect, the game at launch. And, some image out there has shown a little bit of bugginess. And we just discussed it with Avowed. It's very off-putting to buy a $70 game and then have it be buggy, day one of launch. And so they better fix it, because what else are you going to say to be able to defend your position moving forward? But then you also get, okay, this is a hot take. Intentional leak. They will blame the failure on the leak. Are you buying that?
All right.
That's
I don't know if I buy that, but hey, put on that tinfoil hat, I guess.
Hey, with Assassin's Creed Shadows, you never know. I mean, people are definitely been questioning why they didn't choose a historic. Well, actually, I don't want to go there. Someone's going to fight me in the chat box. Yes, okay. Because, everybody's got a different interpretation of how the Black Samurai was, where was his allegiance with the Emperor's family, what was his ranking? No one really knows, because, we can only got him in, in transcriptions, right? So that's why it's a little bit difficult. But it's an interpretation at the end. And when has Assassin's Creed ever been historically correct? That's the thing that always bugs me. And then another thing that always drives me nuts too, HenricK. It's like, keyword assassin, okay? And so people get all mad that he can run around and start slaying people and doing this and that. Like, golly, man, it's enough is enough. But then you get comments like this: these leaks are just going to fuel the worst content creators while we wait for March 20th. Absolutely agree. A comment follows up by saying they already had some pretty ridiculous reasons for disliking this game. Now with the leaks of unfinished content, they're just going to create more clickbait nonsense. Are you talking about us? I will fight you. Not with my virtual hands. And then people really just want to bring this game down. It hurts. Everything is looking so cool. And at least Ubisoft showing integrity, unlike the grift parasites. And so that leads us into the questioning, HenricK. People are obviously holding physical disc of Assassin's Creed Shadows like they just found some buried treasure. And so if the game's been done for a while, what's with the delay? Are they rewriting history like some people are speculating? Are they changing the script? Because some people are, definitely going to be comparing the leak version to the day one patch, right? So will it be a glow up or a crime scene?
Well, most likely they wanted to just have the extra time to fix some bugs. And for their sake, I really hope that means that the day one patch is not buggy, because now there's been 3 delays, so it should be actually fixed, right? Right?
Yeah. But then again, we have this. Actually, I should have looked this up before we even jumped on air. But if they're on Unreal Engine 5, remember that's been kind of like the joke the last couple of years now. Like, oh my gosh, like as much as it's making our video games look really, really beautiful, it's a very buggy system. And so maybe they're recognizing the onslaught of gamers fan base and how people just love the prestigious franchise of what we know as Assassin's Creed. So people really want this to be nailed right. And again, Assassin's Creed Shadow has faced setbacks, numerous setbacks and issues over the course of its development, including content leaks. So this is obviously nothing new. And, to see how this kind of further keeps happening. I mean, they also, a hentai website leaked Assassin's Creed Shadows art book out of all things. And it's like, what the hell is going on? And you just wonder if and you know what, another thing that's also kind of crazy too, HenricK, information also came out about their expansion. And I'm sure, the claws of Awaji, it looks really, really cool if you ever seen the pictures. We don't have it provided for you guys right now. They're claiming new weapon types, over 10 hours of additional content. And I'm sure they wanted to let people embrace the world of Assassin's Creed Shadows first before introducing this expansion. And so it's just, I feel for them. I think Ubisoft makes a lot of fantastic games, whether some people probably disagree with me. But you know what? Screw you guys. You guys have been playing a lot of their games for like the past 20 years. Sometimes people do come up with hiccups along the way, but I am so adamant about a game needs to be complete day one.
Yeah,
do what Fable had to do, right?
Just
delay it a whole year if you have to. But go ahead.
Just look it up. They are not using Unreal Engine 5. They're using their own engine. So hey, at least they have that going for them.
Wow.
But they really, really have, in the eyes of a lot of gamers, not been in the best of spots with their last releases. So they have a lot on the line, at least according to some people, with this release. So I could see why they would delay it so many times, because they want to make it as good of a shape as they can before it's actually in people's hands. But now it's in people's hands.
Yeah, and I'm just curious, like, we want to know from you, the gamers, do you feel like the leaked version is going to be a very true tell of what's been going on behind the scenes with Ubisoft trying to clean up this, like, crisis management? Or will these day one patch be the glow up that will help make Ubisoft's newest IP, Assassin's Creed Shadows, be a contender for Game of the Year? Let us know what's good.
Another day, another Reddit debate, as usual. And this time, a gamer has asked the ultimate question. If you could live in one game world, which one would you choose? Now, before you go picking some gorgeous fantasy realm, remember, just because the scenery is breathtaking doesn't mean you'll be doing much breathing once the local wildlife or friendly NPCs get a hold of you.
Friendly NPCs. Yeah.
Elden Ring.
Yeah, right.
That world is gorgeous, but I would not want to live there.
Oh, hell no, bro. Hell no. I can't even believe you referenced that as an example.
Yeah.
That's a virtual nightmare.
Yeah. So, which virtual paradise or nightmare, some of you, would gamers actually want to call home? Let's find out.
Apparently, HenricK thinks Bloodborne's his place. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's a nice looking world. Would I live there though? No.
Right. Well, the first comment that we got here is The Sims. Most of the bad events are goofy enough, they don't feel so bad. And then we got a follow-up comment that says, then you realize the player is controlling you and you find yourself trapped in a deep pool and the ladder disappears. That's what I was exactly thinking. And I was really
or you get stuck in a room with no doors.
Okay, true. Yeah, you could be in. Wow, I did not think that far ahead, HenricK. Will I have at least windows? Holy cow!
No way to get out.
Yeah, if you thought your life sucks now and you felt like someone's in your place of existence telling you what to do, maybe Sims might not be the smart choice, even though that beer pong game looks kind of enticing. And I'm sure the ladies are very, very nice. But let's go into the next comment. Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. And I'd be just be happy just being the ball. You know, that is quite a beautiful resort. I don't know if I'd want to be the ball. I would love to be a teammate, I suppose. That's hilarious. And then probably one of those porn games on Steam. Oh god, really, dude?
Oh my!
And then there are much better ones outside of Steam. You guys are some cheeky bastards. That's all I know. Wow.
Just don't pick that Hitler one that I've seen. You know the one.
I do know the Jesus. Definitely Animal Crossing. The world is crying out for a revolution of what? Oh gosh, I can't even read that.
Let me hit you with this one though. Isabella gives you the stare. You know the stare. I don't think you want to have that stare looking at you.
I'm also looking at that eagle on screen, and he looks I don't know if I'd want him showing up at my front door. I don't know about all that. That seems a little bit spooky. And then you got Pokemon, without a doubt. Agreed. Becoming a trainer is super easy, and even if you didn't want to be a trainer, there are so many Pokemon adjacent jobs that you could have. But yeah, have you ever considered walking to work? I mean, have you never seen the first episode of Pokemon? I mean, my gosh, Ash Ketchum,
that's why you get the bike, so you can get there faster.
Oh, yeah, so let's connect Ash Ketchum or yourself to a metal bike so then Pikachu can turn on you, electrify the bicycle, and then you're dead. No. Yeah, HenricK. Yeah, you didn't think about it because I thought of it. Of course, my childhood memory said Pokemon, and then I had to be like, you know what? This Reddit thread question is actually harder than it sounds. No, hell to the no, I'm not living in Pokemon. Could you think that you could have one free day in the water? Just chilling in Lake Havasu, and then you're gonna have a fat ass Snorlax and a Gyarados just hanging around, and Ho-Ho flying in the sky, breathing his bullshit. No. And then the next comment we got here is, I'd be a traveler in No Man's Skies, infinite worlds, eternal life. you better know how to use that suit if you're going to No Man's Sky. That's all I'm gonna say. Because space. No, I don't know about all that. But HenricK, which game world would you live in, and how long do you actually think you'd survive before becoming an NPC side quest objective?
Maybe this is my N64 nostalgia, but I've always found, looking back, that the N64 worlds look really comfy. Like, I'd love to just step into maybe Banjo-Kazooie, that world. Or,
but that got that creepy witch-looking girl. I don't know if I want to see her in real life.
Hey, you don't have to go talk to her.
I guess that's true.
Live out your life in that world. I think you could survive. Okay. I think I'd survive there pretty well.
I think you have a little bit more faith than I do, but go on.
But what about you, Chris? What would you go to?
I was really thinking about this, and I don't know if this is a cop-out or not, but I'm going to go with it anyways. If I could live in any video game world, I'm packing my virtual bags, and I'm moving straight into PGA 2K25. And yes, I know it's not even out yet, but I'm already sold, and this is why. You're going to be catching me living my best life, casually hitting 18 holes on the world's most beautiful courses without breaking a sweat. No expensive club memberships, no sunburns, because I gotta look like the lemon cake, not the strawberry shortcake, all right? And there's no angry golfers yelling at me for slowing down the pace. So it's just pure pixel perfect.
And what really is there to be a threat in that world, huh?
Yeah, I just don't see that. I mean, I guess the only threat that could be is will the water feel wet? Or will I just have to click through it like a glitchy NPC? Those are stuff that's running through my head. Or what about those bunker shots? Will it feel like real sand, or is my controller or my body will start vibrating like aggressively in protest and make the swing? And then it's like, oh gosh, this is not like golf after all in the end. But either way, I'll be out there. I'll be virtually thriving and loving every second of my 0-calorie country club lifestyle. So that's my choice right there. But we want to know from you, the gamers. I mean, what are you guys vibing with? What kind of video game world would you want to live in? And again, no nightmares. Be real. What world could you survive in? Let us know what's good. But man, this has been such a fantastic show, and we can't thank everyone for tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. So there it is in all its beauty. That's where you can find my YouTube channel.
Yeah, and bask in the glory of that one, because that is my QR code. It goes to my YouTube channel. So don't miss out, because there is a lot of awesome content on there, and it's just waiting to be watched. So go drop a comment. Let me know you're watching.
Yeah, let us know what's good. And we will see you next week, Wednesday, live at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And again, guys and girls, we can't thank you enough. Hold on to your controllers. We will be back, and enjoy the weekend. Play some kick-ass video games, and we'll see you soon, fam. Peace.
See ya.